Previously on the POGLEY WOOD Murders.
The Pogleys are one of the three ruling families in these parts.
Mrs. Eva Havoc has sent her sincere apologies to the women of the Morlington Hill Townswomen's Guild. Mrs. Havoc told local organiser Mrs. Elizabeth Plink that she'd written down the wrong day.
I'm Detective Inspector Sixpence, Truro Police, and this is my Detective Sergeant
Dingle. Richard Dingle.
That were Mrs. Tiddles. She were telephoning from Pogley Manor on the edge of Pogley Wood. They discovered him half an hour ago in one of them tunnels that runs from the manor grounds to the coast.
Who are you, madam?
Back. Mrs. Back. My husband Stanley's a station master at Morlington Old Station.
Oh, really? And is this your tractor?
No, I lended it, didn't I, from my cousin.
Bloodily bludgeoned over the bonds by a blunt instrument, sir.
Nasty.
Pippin? Oh, no. Chucksy, did you hear that?
I did, Papsy. That's perfectly horrid.
Lady Pogley and I were very touched to see so many of you at St. Mary's.
Lord Pogley?
What is it, man? Can't you see I'm making... Oh, good Lord.
Are you all right, my dear?
Perfectly.
There appears to have been an horrific murder in mysterious circumstances. The Viscount Pogley of Pogley Wood has been fatally shot on platform 2. He's stone cold dead.
The Pogley Wood Murders, Chapter 2. A bit of a turn by Nigel Fairs.
Oh, perfectly, thank you. Would you like a little toe-to-peg to calm your nerves?
No, thank you. Not when I'm on duty, like.
Of course not, Constable. Dear, how troubling all this is. How did Mr. Wilde put it? To lose one relation may be regarded as misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. But it was a simply ghastly service, wasn't it? I swear that vicar had had a sneaky slurp of the communion wine before the funeral. Unless his dentures don't fit. And that dreadful woman wailing like a banshee. Was that really bark? If it was, I suppose one might say that her bark is worse than her bite. Please excuse me. I know one shouldn't laugh on a day like this, but my husband was such a stifling bore, particularly in the bedroom department, I may say. And I confess I'm rather relieved. I can hardly believe my little Pippin is dead and gone.
Nope, hardly seems possible.
It doesn't seem a day since he was gaily flitting around the estate without a care in the world, skinny dipping with the butler's boy in the lake, or playing hide the sausage with the gamekeeper's daughter in the conservatory. My little Pippin didn't care who he played with. Not like Pippa. She's a right little madam.
She certainly is.
Mind you, she never used to be. When she was a gal, she wouldn't say boo to a goose. Such a timid little creature, you know. Frightened of her own shadow. And she was allergic to everything. She'd faint at the slightest whiff of a cat or dog, horses, cows, pansies, lavender.
Stinging nettles.
Stinging nettles?
According to Sheila Swift down the post office, they brought her out in hives, they did.
Oh, really? Was that what it was? Nanny told me it was the porridge.
No, that's what her nanny put on the hives to bring them down. According to Sheila Swift, she walked around looking like Frankenstein's monster, she did.
Who's what?
Frankenstein's monster. You know, like in the moving picture.
Moving what?
Miss Swallocks and me gone down the Odeon in St. Austell and saw it. Horrible it were.
I really haven't a clue what you're talking about, Constable thing. Oh, dear, I suppose she'll be in a terrible state when she finds out her father's been fatally shot. She'll be weeping and wailing all over the place, just like she was when they found poor Pippin in the tunnel. I think I might get the butler to tell her. If there's one thing that I really detest, it's histrionics. Mind you, I suppose I shall have to get used to all that now if I'm the lady of the manor, so to speak. Just me and her dreadful fiancé. Oh, Lord.
Milady.
Yes, Porter. Is the engine ready? Shall we be off?
Oh, no, milady. It's a policeman. Inspector Sixpence, plain clothes. Says he wants to question you in that.
What's the question me? What about?
Oh, Lord Pogley.
What about Lord Pogley?
Him being fatally shot and that.
Oh, well, I suppose that he must if he must. Where is he?
In me hole, milady. It's this way.
Do come in, madam.
Oh.
Oh?
I thought the porter said you were plain clothes. They don't look terribly plain to me.
No. Well, you see, I was down here for a do in the Daniel Digger Gallery, but then the do didn't.
Didn't what?
Didn't do, because of the dung.
The dung?
Yes, it was down to the dung in the Danny Digger that the do didn't do, darn it. So my sergeant and I were all dressed up with nowhere to go, until someone reminded us that the Honourable Pippin Pogley was being buried today at St Mary's.
My son?
Yes, indeed. If you are the Viscountess Pogley of Pogley Wood.
I am.
Married to Lord Lionel.
That is Lord Poglet, you sergeant.
It's Detective Inspector, as a matter of fact. Would you like to sit down, Lady Pogley?
I love to. Whoops! Ruddy thing's got a mind of its own, what?
Yes?
We've put his lordship in the ice room next to the church, Inspector. Till the boys from the morgue get here, that is. He's stiffening up quite nicely.
That'll make a change. Oh, dear. I think I've had a slop too much to drink. Or maybe my dentures don't fit.
Thank you, Mr. Banks.
Wait a minute. I haven't got dentures.
Would you like a glass of water, Lady Pogley?
God, no. I'm terribly sorry, Inspector. I think it must be the shock.
So your son's funeral. Quite a magnificent affair, I must say. The flowers on the coffin were astounding. The whole church smelled like a lavender bag.
Yes, stunk to high heaven.
Yep. That were thanks to my missus, that.
Indeed. We saw her on her way up to St Mary's with a tractor full of flowers yesterday. How long have you been married, Mr. Beck?
As long as I can remember.
That long. And how did you meet your lady wife?
We grew up together, didn't we? Down the estate.
Estate?
Pogley Manor.
Oh, that estate.
My old mum, she were an housemaid. And her old man were a groundsman.
And your father?
Oh, died afore I was born. All of 'em dead and gone now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's life, innit?
Where were you, Mr. Beck, when the fatal shot was fired this evening?
Oh, we were in my hole, giving him a stiff one.
Your hole? Oh, you mean your office?
Aye.
And who were you giving a stiff one?
Well, Lord Pogley. He'd had a bit of a turn, you see.
A turn?
That's right. When he saw the note.
No?
The one that someone stuck on my door. With a drawing pin. Addressed to his lordship, like.
Aha. Would that be this one?
Oh, that's the one. Here. Where'd you get that, then?
Miss Swallocks found it in the stiff's overcoat pocket. I wonder if you'd be kind enough to read it to me, sir.
Me?
If you'd be so kind.
What? Out loud?
Why not? In your own time.
It's a bit messy. It's covered in blood and that. Dear Lord Pogley, writing this letter, sorry to hear about your son copping it and all. Very sad in that. You're sincerely Mr. I can't read it very well. Blood and that. Got the gist and that.
Can you read, Mr. Beck?
Of course I can read. I just haven't got my glasses on.
Yes, well, I think you might have missed some of the finer details. Ah, Constable Knibblett.
Sir?
Did you manage to find him?
Not a sign, sir. Looks like they've taken Stoppo.
Run away, eh? Be a good man and pass this note over to Inspector Sixpence, would you? He's in Mr. Back's hole. I'm just going to take another look at the stiff.
Of course, Sergeant. Anything you say, Sergeant.
Thank you, Constable. Very interesting indeed. Lady Pogley, perhaps you might be kind enough to read it out.
Me? Why?
Because it would appear to have been written to your husband.
What a terrible handwriting it looks like. No, it can't be.
Can't be what?
Never mind, mistaken.
If you'd be so kind.
Dearest 5. 5 what? Is that a 5? Oh, I suppose it might be an S. Really, this handwriting. Dearest 5 or S or whatever, I know you're only 6 years old now, and it's difficult for you to understand these things, but you must be a frame.
Yeah, I think that might say brave.
Brave. Oh, yes. I see. You must be a brave boy. Your mummy has gone to heaven now, so you must learn to be a man. To help you do this, I'm putting in some money, which Mr. and Mrs. someone or other, Sykes, can use to buy you some food, if you like them to. They will look after you as if you were their own little man, just like your mummy did. She was a very pretty lady, and we will all miss her. Be brave, little SLX. Who's SLX when they're at home?
Oh, indeed. Are you quite all right, Lady Pogley? You've gone as white as a sheet.
Perfectly all right, Sergeant. I wonder if you would mind continuing this business up at the manor. I'm sure the engine must be stoked up by now. If you don't mind, I shall drive to the manor and see you there.
You can drive, Lady Pogley. How very modern.
Of course not. I shall have my chauffeur bring the rolls around.
I'm sure that'll be tip-top, Lady Pogley.
Right then, can I be getting on now? I got doings need doing, you know. The 11 minutes past is due at any moment, and if I ain't there to blow me whistle and that, nobody'll know to get on and off. Then I'm supposed to go up Pogley Wood Station and do me doings up there.
Yes, Mr. Back. I'm sure that'll be fine and dandy.
Right?
One last thing, sir. How did you know that note was addressed to Viscount Pogley of Pogley Wood?
Because it said, like...
Who said?
She said.
Who?
Well, she did. Lady Pogley did, yeah.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Well, off you pop then. But once you've seen to the 11 minutes past, I'd be most obliged if you'd pop into the local station to give the constable your statement before you disappear to Pogley Wood. The police station, that is, naturally, not the railway station. That'd be silly.
If I must...
Lord Pogley! Lady Pogley! Has anyone seen the Viscount or Viscountess Pogley of Pogley Wood anywhere? I have the most dreadful news!
What dreadful news might that be, sir?
Who the devil are you?
Name's Dingle, sir. Detective Sergeant Dingle of the Truro Police.
I see.
You said you had some dreadful news.
Simply terrible. My fiancé, the Honourable Pippin of Pogley Wood, has been horribly trampled to death by a herd of cows.
Your fiancé,
Morlington.
the Honourable Pippin of
Morlington
Pogley Wood, has been horribly trampled to death by a herd of cows.
That's right.
Thank you, Miss Swallocks. I think I can handle this one.
If you say so.
That's terrible, sir. When did it happen?
At approximately 13 minutes to 7 o'clock this evening.
Well, that's terribly precise, sir.
I happened to glance at my wristwatch.
What happened?
Well, my fiancée, the Honourable Pippin of Pogley Wood, had a little turn in the church at her brother's funeral. So bad that we left the church halfway through the service. I elected to drive her to the wake up at the hall rather than wait for the train. She hated common people, do you see? But then we noticed that someone had stolen my Lancia Lambda. Darn it, Pupsy! Someone's stolen my Lancia Lambda.
Who has? Was it one of the peasants, do you suppose?
I have no idea. We shall have to take the railway train with everyone else.
Oh, Troxy, I simply can't do that. Sitting in a carriage, all those ghastly little oiks stinking of ferrets and goats. It's bad enough that Mater and Pater have invited them to the manor. I feel it in my bones that none of them will know how to hold a fork. No, I shan't. We shall walk.
Walk?
Yes, Troxy, walk.
So we ended up walking across the fields to Pogley Manor instead. Pupsy, this is perfectly dreadful. I'm positively exhausted.
Oh, Troxy, do stop complaining.
I shan't. I'm having the most horrible day. What with that ghastly service, my Lancia Lambda being stolen, and now look at the state of my spats. They're practically practically caked in mud.
That's the whole point of spats.
Oh, do cheese it, Pupsy. If I see a motor, I shall flag it down immediately. Why, there's one. I say, yoo-hoo! The bounders didn't stop.
It's probably in a hurry.
Darling, don't be obtuse. Who's going to be in a hurry to go anywhere at 13 minutes to 7 o'clock in the evening? What is it, Pupsy? Why are you looking so queer all of a sudden?
It's those cows. They don't look terribly friendly.
Don't be silly, dear. There's nothing frightening about a cow. You should know. You've lived with one for 22 years.
Are you talking about my mother? Goodness, what in heaven's name was that?
Whatever it was, it's disturbed those cows. Good God! They're charging! Run, Pupsy! Run for your life! But it was far, far too late. She was trampled to death right in front of my eyes. As the cows passed, I ran to her side, cradled her bloody head in my lap, and then heard her dying words. My darling, what was that again? I didn't quite get it. But it was far, far too late. She was dead. Dead! Dead!
Dear. Miss Swallocks, I wonder if you wouldn't mind getting some of the lads to attend to the bloody and battered remains of Mr. Anthemum's fiancée.
Right, you.
Mr. Anthemum, I think my inspector might want to have a word with you, if you don't mind. This way.
So you were the only witness to your fiancée's death, Mr. Anthemum?
Yes, Inspector. Well, apart from the dratted cows, that is.
And what happened to your Lancia Lambda, do you suppose?
Well, that's the queerest thing. As I approached the railway station a few moments ago, I saw her parked right there, next to the ticket office.
Saw whom?
My Lancia Lambda.
How interesting. Now then, you fought in the war, didn't you, sir?
I'd really rather not talk about it.
Beside the Honourable Pippin Pogley of Pogley Wood, I understand.
Yes, before he was court-martialed in disgrace for being AWOL. They don't like wols in the army.
I'm surprised they didn't shoot him.
Shoot a Pogley? Oh no, Inspector. Nobody would dare shoot a Pogley. That family have too many fingers in too many pies.
Oh, sir, someone dared to shoot a Pogley this evening with fatal results.
I beg your pardon?
At 20 minutes to 7 o'clock this evening, your father-in-law-to-be, the Viscount Pogley of Pogley Wood, was fatally shot in the chest by an Enfield No. 2 British Service pistol revolver, at which point he bled and bled and bled until he was stone-cold dead.
Good heavens! But surely that means... now that Pippa and Pippin are dead, surely...
Surely what, Mr. Anthemum?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I see. Thinking about your inheritance, are you, sir?
With Pupsy barely cold, and my brother and father-in-law-to-be barely buried, I could never be so heartless.
Nevertheless, it must be galling to think that had your fiancée not been savagely killed by a herd of furious Frisians this afternoon...
She wasn't my fiancée.
I beg your pardon?
She was my wife. We were married a week ago, in a register office in Belching-on-Sea. In secret.
Oh, really?
We didn't want to make a fuss. What with Pippin being buried and so on.
You didn't want to make a fuss. Well, that's quite extraordinary, I must say. And of course it brings you one step closer to the Pogley inheritance.
One step closer?
After the Viscountess Pogley of Pogley Wood, naturally.
This is 1937, Detective Inspector. She's a woman. She doesn't count.
So you, sir, stand to inherit a fortune.
Well, yes, I suppose so. Well, the ancestral seat in any case. But it's a bit of a pile, to be honest. These old piles can be a terrible strain.
Don't I know it.
Did you know it's open to the public every Wednesday from 12 till 6 for 2 and 6? Half a crown extra if you want to see the monk's hole.
I really rather wouldn't. Come. Can I help you?
Can if you see my Stanley. He left his sandwiches on the kitchen table this morning, bold as brass. Honestly, I have to do everything for that man. I swear he'd forget his head if it weren't screwed on his body.
I'm afraid that Mr. Back is down at Morlington Police Station helping us with our inquiries. Betty Swallocks is at this very moment taking down his particulars.
Never trusted her. Filthy cow.
Don't talk to me about cows.
Mrs. Back, I wonder if you'd mind telling me what you were doing at precisely 20 minutes to 7 o'clock this evening.
What's that got to do with price onions?
Really very little.
Well then, I'll be off.
Madam, I'm investigating 2, possibly 3 horrific murders in mysterious circumstances.
You're saying that Pippa might have been murdered?
Yes, sir, I am indeed.
You mean one of the cows was a murderer?
Not the cows, no, sir. But somebody fired the gun that set them off on that fatal rampage.
Good God.
Now then, madam.
Yes, well, I could tell you exactly what I was doing at 20 minutes to 7 o'clock this evening, and so could Eva Herbuck.
Who?
Eva Herbuck. She co-founded the Townswomen's Guild last year.
The what?
Just you wait. Soon you men will come to realise that we women can do more than sew, cook and scrape your corns. We'll get what we deserve, us hard-working women, all of us.
How ghastly.
I spoke to Eva Herbuck on the newfangled telephonic device this evening for a good 10 minutes. Then I cycled all the way to Pogley Wood with my husband's sandwiches, and then I discovered that he's back in Morlington, where I started.
That's a hell of a cycle.
Certainly is.
Why, that must have taken you 20 minutes at the very least.
25 with my hips.
So at 20 minutes to 7 o'clock you would have been where?
Halfway, I reckon.
And did anybody pass you on the road?
Not a soul. Quiet as the grave. Oh, I did hear a few cows mooing madly in a field like they was having a party.
And a gunshot?
Beg pardon?
You heard the mooing, but did you hear a gunshot?
You saying the cows were shooting off guns?
I'm not quite sure what I'm saying yet, madam. Just a moment. Mr. Anthem.
Yes, Detective Inspector?
How on earth did you escape the cows, sir, whilst they were trampling your wife to death in the field?
I shimmied up a tree, Detective Inspector. Ever since I was a little boy, I've had an affinity with elms. Perhaps I knew that one day one of them would save my life.
Perhaps. By Jove, that's it. Dangle? Sergeant Dangle, are you there?
As a matter of fact, sir.
There you are. I wonder if you'd be kind enough to gather everyone onto the next railway train. We're going to pay a visit to Lady Pogley.
What, all of us?
Well, a select few, sir, yes. I'd like to have a bit of a word. And I gather that she and her late husband were going to entertain the villagers to a bit of a spread after the funeral. It'd be a shame to waste it, wouldn't it? Sergeant?
Right away, sir.
Good man. Delicious tarts, Lady Pogley. You must give my compliments to your chef.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Inspector Thruppence, will your little doings take long? I've got the Duchess arriving first thing in the morning, and I want everything to be top-tip.
The Duchess of Truro.
No, the other one. The real one.
Real one?
The Duchess of Norwich, coming to pay her respects to my late husband.
Really? Heavens, that's quick. He only died this afternoon.
Yes, well, you can't let the glass glance your foot. Toes a peg?
No, thank you, Lady Pogley. Ladies and gentlemen, I wonder if I might have your attention. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, who killed the Viscount Pogley, the Honourable Pippin Pogley, and the Honourable Pippa Pogley, and why? The answer occurred to me when Mr. Anthem talked about shimmying up elms when he was a boy.
Oh, really? Topping. So glad I could help, what?
Whoever killed the Honourable Pippin would have had to have known about the secret tunnels beneath the grounds of Pogley Manor, in which his decaying body was found.
Someone in the family, perhaps.
Perhaps, Sergeant. Or maybe someone on the staff. Whoever killed the Honourable Pippa Pogley would have to have known that her reaction to the lavender in the church would have brought on one of her turns. They would have had to be able to drive, so that they could steal her husband's Lancia Lander, forcing her to walk through the fields where she was trampled to death by cows, set on their murdering rampage by the same gun that shot Viscount Pogley himself. They would have had to have owned a gun. An ex-soldier, perhaps.
Just a moment. Do you mean me? I've never heard the like. That's nothing short of slander, sir. Besides, why in heaven's name would I steal my own motor car?
Exactly.
So you're saying Lady Pogley did it?
What?
Not at all. She can't drive.
Then who did, Inspector?
Her ladyship's chauffeur?
I don't think so, Mr. Back, no.
Well, why not?
because he hasn't been in this episode.
Oh.
The answer to the whole conundrum lay in that letter stuck to your door with a drawing pin. The one with SLX written on the bottom. Or was it?
Don't ask me. I haven't the remotest idea what you're talking about.
Be brave, little SLX, it said. Or was it, be brave, little S? And the letter was signed with an L and a kiss.
Then who's S and who's L?
L is Viscount Lionel Pogley. S is Stanley Back, his son, born outside the bedsheets.
Good heavens! Do you mean Back here was knocking the family off one by one so that he could claim his inheritance as the only surviving child of the Viscount?
Exactly. I'd check your brake cables before you drive your Lancia Lambda again if I were you.
My Stanley ain't no murderer.
You're absolutely right, Mrs. Back.
What? I thought you just
Your
said...
husband isn't a murderer, but you are.
I beg your pardon?
What was it you said on Morlington Holt Railway Station?
Honestly, I have to do everything for that man.
You knew about the secret tunnel because you'd played hide the sausage with the Honourable Pippin when you were a child. You knew the Honourable Pippa was allergic to lavender, so you covered the coffin with it, and stole the Lancia Lambda so that she'd have to make her fateful walk across the fields to Pogley Wood.
But I'm a woman. I can't drive.
Oh, yes, you can. We saw you driving a tractor full of flowers up to the church. Your father used to be a gamekeeper, so no doubt you had access to his guns.
Maybe. But how could I have shot Lord Pogley when I were on the telephone at 20 minutes to 7 o'clock? Huh? Ask Eva Herbert.
The woman who, according to the local newspaper, doesn't know what day it is, let alone what time. You thought she'd be your perfect alibi, didn't you? Well, I think not.
We'll get what we deserve, us hard-working women, all of us.
You said. And I think you were talking about your husband's inheritance. Mrs. Back, I arrest you in the name of the king, and may God have mercy on your dark and desperate soul.
Oh, no, you don't.
Put the gun down, Mrs. Back.
Why should I? If I let you arrest me, I'll swing for it, and then where will my Stanley be?
And where do you suppose he'll be if you make a run for it? Most probably out of a job for a start. Nobody's going to employ a man whose wife is a murderess, least of all the Great Western Railway.
He's right, Honor. I wouldn't stand no chance of getting a job neither. Not down here. You know how folks are.
Yes, Stanley, I do. I know how folks are. I'm sorry, my love. I only wanted what were best for you.
I know.
Mrs. Back, that's enough. Put the gun down now.
You're better off dead now of it, Stanley. Damn you. Damn all of you.
Oh! You're all right, ladies and gentlemen. Calm down, please. Calm down.
Calm down! There are dead bodies everywhere!
Exactly. What on earth is the Duchess going to think?
Well, Sergeant, how do you think you're going to like it down here? Not quite the sleepy little villages you expected, eh?
Not at all, sir, no. Far from it, in fact. I'm still reeling from that back woman shooting her husband right in front of us, if I'm honest.
Yes, not to mention herself. Though that, I suppose, was rather more understandable. I've seen many a man in the old chokey go to pieces at the thought of the hangman's noose, you know, Dongle. So for one of the fairer sex...
It's Dingle, sir.
Of course it is, Sergeant. Good man.
Next time on the POGLEY WOOD Murders.
There we are, then. Quiet as the grey.
You barely know the man.
I don't need to, Paps dear. He's a king.
I've come for the duel. The old world's in a state of shadow as far as I'm concerned.
Off we go. Lights off. Ooh.
Found something, Miss Swallocks?
Yes, here in the hedge.
Ah.
You have been listening to Chapter 2 of the POGLEY WOOD Murders, with Max Day as Sergeant Dingle and Lord Pogley, Rebecca Crinion as Lady Pogley and Betty Swallocks, Radley Mason as Constable Knibblett and Chris Anthem, Nigel Fairs as Inspector Sixpence, Abby Harris as Pippa Pogley and Honor Back, and Anthony Townsend as Stanley Back. The POGLEY WOOD Murders were written and edited by Nigel Fairs, who also composed the music.
Ah, no, well, you see, I was down here for a do in the Daniel Digger
We've put his lordship in the next... nope, try again.
Don't talk to me about cows! I'll do one less dramatic.
I used to prefer to Radio Times Man of the Week. Now look at me, dressed as a nun.
Whoever killed the Honourable Pippin. You knew all about the secret tunnel. What? Excuse me, it's the take.
Is it? Oh, is it?
Is it doing it for real?
It's real. Well, Sergeant? How do you think you're going to like it down there? Sorry. No, sorry.
I think I like it very well down there.